Good morning, everyone. Today is November 1st, 2023, and I want to say 2024. I have been working on plans, and so yeah, I'm going to be frazzled today. I'm going to tell you right up front. Today is the first day we've had snow, the coldest day that we've had so far. The snow isn't on the ground. It's on the rooftops, it's on the roofs of houses, it's on cars, you know. But this is the day that our electric company decided they needed to upgrade their system. So they have shut off the electricity. It was scheduled, and it is supposed to be off for approximately 3 hours. And if you're like me, when a company says, oh, we're going to do an upgrade, it'll be approximately, you add extra time. Well, for me, that means my entire home is electric. So there's no heat, there's no hot water, there's no lights. The elevator in the building doesn't work. So I thought, oh, hey, you're going to turn off the electricity, no big deal. I'll go to the bank. The bank is right next door, which means they have no power. I'll head over to the post office. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So all of a sudden, it's like I went to make a cup of hot tea this morning, and it was like, oh, I can't do that. So yeah, I'm not really with it, so bear with me. I'm sorry. I have 3 finishes for you. I have lots of progress, as is normal lately, but I want to do some old business. I was giving this away. The winner is Jackie Feeney, and I haven't heard from Jackie. So Jackie, I need to hear from you before the 15th, the next video, or I will give this away to someone else. And then we'll get started on some of the nice stuff. So first off, I finished, now I had this set up to show you last time and I forgot, but I finished October by Paula Vaughan. I stitched this on an 18 count Barnwood by Picture This Plus. All I had left to do when you last saw it was the back stitching in the quilt. And so I finished that, and I just picked, this is an 8x10, just an inexpensive plastic frame. You can hear the plastic, but it looks nice, and I'm really glad to have this up. So this was a piece that, I'm going to put a picture in here of where it was on January 1st when I decided that I was going to start using this as bonus stitching. And my bonus stitching was, I would have a goal of how many stitches I wanted each day, or I needed each day, in order to finish the full coverage pieces that I plan to finish for this year. And when that was done, because I was starting to get burned out on only doing that, I would pick this up and work on this a little bit in the evening, if I still wanted to stitch or had time to stitch. And because I was doing that, I went from barely anything to finished in 1 year. So that's October, and that's a lot of fun to have out for the holiday. It was up for the fall, and I don't know if I want to put it away now that we have snow, but we still have fall leaves out, so I might leave it up a little longer. Okay, so let's get into the current stitching. First one up is 4 Seasons, and this is where this is now. I'm still working on these 2 buildings, the last of this red section and this white building here. So I've come down and done more down in here, and I've just filled in a lot of this. So I think it's done to about here on this building now. Bring it in close so you can see. A lot of that is white, so it's not going to look like I did as much as maybe I did. I did some more down across the bottom, and I'll put it on my face where it was last time you saw it. And I hope you didn't hear that. I'm not sure what they're doing in the building. It sounds like an alarm is going off. Okay, so that's where that is. I'm going to shut this off because I don't know. Okay, I don't know what that noise was. I went to check it out and it stopped. But that's 4 Seasons. That is now at 34.61%. So we're getting there. I started this in 2019. So yeah, I'm feeling the need to have this finished. And you're going to see a lot of this throughout the next year. Hopefully have it finished next year. Okay, next one I've been pulling out for football stitching. So when I sit down to watch football, because I can't just sit in front of a TV. I go to a movie theater and I'm fidgeting with my hands because I can't stand sitting there. But you can't do anything in a movie theater. I just can't stand sitting still. So I am working on just this black. And that's where that is. So I'll put right above it where it was. This is Strength by Nickley Payne. And I don't know what the electric company is doing. Please, if you hear these noises, I'm sorry. This is Strength by Nickley Payne. I am currently now at 14.01%. Is that right? Yep, 14. I've put in a total of 27,000 stitches. But because I'm only working on the black, and I can show you down here, I have brought down an outline. I need to do a little bit more about there. That'll be the bottom of the third page. I had 41,000 stitches at the beginning of October in black, and I now have 32,000. So I did about 9,000 stitches just when I'm sitting watching television. So if you think you need extra time, maybe if you're watching a movie and you have something you can just fill in, it'll help you get your stuff done. So that's where that is. I'll show you where the whole thing is now. And that's where we're at. So yeah, that's Strength. Maybe I shouldn't be trying to record while they're doing this. Okay, the next one that I've pulled out is One for Sorrow. I think I'm going to put this on the board because it's floppy. So One for Sorrow is a Heaven and Earth. Oh, I didn't say Nickley Payne. Her charts are on UnconventionalXStitch. You can find them. And that's a 18 count Aida that I'm stitching that on. This is One for Sorrow. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Stephanie Pouy-Mounois. And yeah, I was working on these. There were stitches right here that went between the background and the body. And then wherever those colors went, I just carried them. So I filled in this here, came up and did more up here, and then all of this here is new. So before I bring it in, let me show you, I'll put a picture right above it. And you can see where it was before. So this is now at 8.71%. But I did hit a milestone. I am now over 10,000 stitches in this. So that's where it is now. And yes, I know I can see lines here. I'm hoping when this is all washed and stretched, it won't be as noticeable. This is the first piece that I started stitching on evenweave. See, if I pull that, you can see that so I think when I stretch it, it'll be fine. This is the first piece that I tried stitching on evenweave, being a 20 count, because I don't do anything higher. And so it took a little bit of time getting used to it. I had trouble with threads slipping, but I figured it out. I like stitching on the evenweave, but I still, every now and then, will have trouble with, a thread slipping. But that's One for Sorrow. And then I pulled out my sal that I am doing with Anna, and you can find her progress on ArcadeStitches Autumn on Instagram. She's no longer doing Flosstube, but she's still on Instagram. So yeah, check her out there. I've now completed parts 43 through 48. So this was a mystery stitch along. You can find the charts. They're still available on Magical Quilts blogspot.com. And it was released in 48 pieces. And this is, so 43 down, I'm now starting 42. And I'm stitching this on, and I know I'm going to butcher this again, Skopelos, I think is how you pronounce it. It's an 18 count Aida that I got from Thesewingshop.Ca. My friend Kaylee dyes. Her stuff is completely unique to everybody else's. And I'm just doing this in 3371. and nothing fancy on this one. And I think that on this fabric, the dark color, the two just pop and work together. And as you can see, I have off-white walls. I wanted something that would really pop when I hung this up. So I will put above it where it was last time. And you see, it works up so quickly. And I'm really glad I'm not doing a variegated, because each band is approximately 10 stitches high. And yeah, if I were trying to figure out where to go, you know, for example, you know, at the bottom of the legs was the end of one part, and then you had another part, and then you had one stitch all the way across here that was on the next band. And so that would kind of drive me crazy to try to figure out where to go next with my variegated floss. But yes, that is my Weaver's Tapestry. Okay, so the next one I pulled out was for my dark stitching. That was Halloweeny. I wanted something kind of dark, kind of brooding, kind of, you know, that Halloween vibe, right? So I pulled out Masquerade. Masquerade is charted by UnconventionalXStitch. The artwork is by Christopher Lovell, and I'm stitching this on a 20 count Aida that I dyed myself. And there we are. So I filled in, this whole feather is now done, but I still have probably 15, 20 stitches to go in this section here. Then I have a lot in that feather. But I'm working on, it's highly, highly confetti. You know, for example, there are, I think, 3 stitches right here missing, and they're all a different color. So, yeah, I'm working on that a little bit. And next time I pick it up, I'll probably finish all that. And then I'm coming over here and working on the moon. And so I'll bring that in. I know everything's so wrinkled, but because, oh, my other question. I mentioned the needle size. The other question that I had was, do I really grid right on my fabric? And I do grid right on my fabric. I should have brought one with me. I use friction pens. Now there are 2 varieties of friction pens. One is like a ballpoint pen and one is like a marker. When I first started using the friction, I used the ballpoint pen. But I found that even when I didn't use it, for example, the pack, I think there were 4 pens in the pack. And when one dried up and I went to get the next one, it was dried up. So they didn't last very long. And I went to the marker, and the marker seems to last quite a bit longer. So I continue with the markers. And so I will just, you know, count out my grid, mark it, and I don't have to remark. It stays, it doesn't fade. But then when I'm done, I go ahead and I wash it, and when I press it, it comes right out. The one time I washed my piece and then I rinsed it in cold water, the marker came back, and it was like, wow, okay. And then I ironed it and it was gone. And I've never had a problem even taking a piece out in the cold to like take to someone I'm giving it to. I've never had the lines come back. So it was just running it under the ice cold water that it came back after I washed it. So this is Masquerade. Yeah, I like it. I'm enjoying it. It's got a ton of confetti, so I have to be in the mood for confetti. But once I get into it, it's pretty good. Now I will show you, I should have shown you another one. My back on this, what you can see, my back right there is not too bad, right? You can see where I'm carrying a little bit. And then there's this. So I'm going to have to find, it is so thick from all the confetti. So I'm going to have to kind of change how I'm stitching that a little bit so it's not so thick all the way through. Next up, I had another finish. So this is Reindeer Feed Sack. This is by Carriage Samplings. And I did this on an 18 count picture this plus haunted. And I did all the called for colors in the top. When I came to the bottom, I messed up and I grabbed B5200 instead of 3866, 65. So the white on the bottom is different. And then I messed up. I had to rip this out. So when I started working on the bottom, I had already had the grids in when I started working on it this time. And I started putting in North Pole. And as I came across, I'm thinking, that's not going to fit. That's not going to fit. So I'm going to put a picture right over here next to it, and you will see somehow when I put this white line in, I put it in all the way over here. So I had to take out, I had North, and I think I started the P when I finally went, okay, that's not working. And I started counting. And yeah, so I ripped that out. So I restitched this where it belonged, put this in, knew that I was right, and then I ripped out everything else and started over. But even having to rip all that out, this took me 1 day to finish. So this was super quick. And now I just need to make this into a bag, and I can have this up for Christmas this year. Okay, so next one. Once I finished that, I had put aside a couple of days for that, and I didn't need it. So the next one, I thought, what do I want to pull out? And I decided to pull out Stone Expression. This is by StitchingMoonDesigns, which you can find on Etsy. I'm stitching this on a 20 count even weave that I dyed myself because I've never dyed even weave, and I wanted to see, when I was dyeing other fabric, I wanted to see how this would come out. It came out brighter and lighter, but I do like how it came out. So all that I've been doing is, well, for the most part, I came in and I filled in all this, filled in any missing stitches here. All of this is new, added a little bit over her head and a couple stitches here. And then I came up and I started filling in a little bit up here. So I will put in a picture next to it of where it was. So if you weren't around this summer, my granddaughter wanted to see what her face would look like. So I counted down and did her face. And then it really bothered me to have that hanging out in the middle of the fabric. So I'm just trying to connect everything now. And then yeah, I want to come over. I think what I'll do is I'll finish, you know, pretty much this page and just come down here, and then I'll work my way across. But yeah, I just wanted that connected. So this is now, did I tell you where I don't think I told you where I was. On Masquerade, I'm at 3.85%. And on Stone Expression, I'm at 11.51%. So that was fun. And by the way, Megan has, Megan, who is Stitching Moon Designs on Etsy, and she's on Flosstube as Stitching Moon, had her son, and both mom and baby are doing great. So congratulations, Megan. Your son is gorgeous. And I'm so glad that you came out of this with no problems. She told a story about some problems that they had with the delivery of her first child, her daughter. So I was happy to hear that she had no problems this time. Okay, the next one I pulled out is my long dog, and this is Resistance is Futile. I'm stitching this on a 20 count Aida by Color and Cotton in the color Aquarius. And I'm stitching it with this gorgeous floss by hand dyed by Rwanda. And isn't that pretty? So that, what I worked on, I finished this and did this one, and I think I came down and did this. So I'm just working on that second band. I will pull it back and show you the before. So this is my very first long dog, and it's fun. It's really fun. These, I enjoy doing band samplers, but for some reason these flowers right here, unlike up here, have just kind of felt monotonous. So I'm looking forward to the next band. But yeah, look at those colors. Aren't they pretty? So this is fun. I don't do a lot of work like this. I don't do a lot of variegated flosses. So every now and then to have one, it's fun. How many times can I say fun, right? Okay, so I don't have any percentages on that because I'm not putting that in Pattern Keeper. Long dog patterns don't work well in Pattern Keeper. Sometimes they will eliminate an entire column of stitches throughout when they collate the pages. Sometimes they'll add a column. You can't do the back stitch, and I wanted to be able to do the back stitch at the same time because I'm using the variegated floss. And I thought, you know what, instead of trying to figure out where I am and did I lose a line, and I'm just doing it in another program. It's an app I have called Zoto, which I've mentioned before. And I can mark that off if I want, but I really don't need to mark so far much of that off. Okay, so the next one was my Halloween stitch. I've got one more, but I'll save that for last because there has a story. And this is Beetle Pop, and that's where I am there. So Beetle Pop now is at 5.52%. Look, I don't even have the first page done, and I'm at 5%. So this right here, her face is coming in, her skin tone, and yeah, this is so fun. There's so far no confetti. There looks like there might be a lot of color changes in this little section between this dark of her hair and her skin tone, but that will be the first that I've had any real color changes. So I'm doing this on a 18 count Aida that I dyed myself, and this is not Zweigart. I usually use Zweigart. This is a piece of DesignWorks fabric that I picked up on sale. It's starting to soften up a little bit, but it's not my favorite. But it's definitely better than some of the cheaper things you find at the craft stores. So that's Beetle Pop. That was my most recent big start. And then I have one that I started and finished. So there's a little story that goes with this. And that is, it involves my grandson. So my grandson, my youngest one, is 9 years old. He just turned 9 in August. And where my children were the internet generation, my grandchildren are the YouTube generation. And even at 9 years old, that boy knows more about how YouTube works and the algorithm and all that other stuff than I do. And so one day we were video chatting, and that's one of the nice things that came out of the pandemic is his parents, because they couldn't see their friends or their relatives, put Messenger, Facebook Messenger for kids on their devices. And that way, it is extremely complicated. You cannot contact a child on on Messenger Kids unless the parents have given permission, and it's extremely complicated to do. But they did it, and so now he and I still will video chat on days when I can't see him. And on one particular day, he knows I have a YouTube channel, and he thinks that's fantastic. And so he was asking me about my subscriber count and my watch time, which I don't even know. I have to go look that stuff up for him. And he said, "Oh, I wonder how long before you get a play button." And I thought for a minute, I went, "Oh, I know what you're talking about." And he goes through and he tells me how many subscribers you need for each play button. And I explain, honey, I'm in a very niche market. You know, there's not a lot of people that are going to be interested in cross stitch. And he thought about it, and he said, well, what you need to do is you need to start stitching things that a lot of people like gaming, and do your channel about those things, and then you'll get people to watch you, and then you'll get a play button. Because if there's one thing he wants in life, it's to have a YouTube channel. He wants to be a YouTuber when he grows up, and he wants a play button. You know, before kids wanted to be astronauts and firemen, now they want to be YouTubers and TikTokers. And so we talked for a while, and I said, okay. I said, I've got that Pokemon chart for you coming up that I'm going to do. And he was like, oh, that'll help you get more people. And I'm like, okay. And he looked down, he was wearing a Minecraft shirt, and he pulls up his shirt and he goes, take a picture of my shirt, take a screenshot, and stitch this, and you'll get a play button soon because people like Minecraft, because his shirt was Minecraft. And I humored him and I took a picture. But I'm not stitching his shirt. I'm not even going to try to create a chart from a screenshot of his t-shirt. So I was thinking about it after we talked, and I thought, I want him to know that I appreciate that he wants to encourage me and help me to do better on my channel. But I'm not going to stitch his shirt. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to find an inexpensive chart on Etsy. I have threads hanging. And I'm going to pick that up, and it has to be something I can stitch in a day. And so this is, I think it's just called Minecraft Gaming, and it's by ArcadeStitches on Etsy. And this design is real cute and small. It is 89 stitches by 89 stitches. I did everything as called for except the word mine, because I started with the words, and as I started putting the words in, I thought, why am I stitching the words in black? You know what, I'm going to put this on the board so I can just hold it. I'm thinking, why am I stitching the words in black? I could do them in any color. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to leave the words in black, but I will do the word mine in green, because if you're like me and you don't do games, you won't know that Minecraft, all of their marketing revolves around a green color. So that's his. Now this would fit easily in a 5x5 frame, but those are kind of hard to find. So I'm just going to pick up an inexpensive 5x7 frame, and I will take the glass out of it because he's all boy, and it'll be something he could just set on his stand or his dresser or something. But I wanted to do that to show him that I wasn't going to disregard his advice and his input just because he's a kid. Doesn't mean I'm going to change what I stitch and start stitching pop culture type things. But for him, I wanted to acknowledge his input. So that was my month of stitching, or my last 2 weeks of October stitching. I'm going to stop this now, and I'm going to set up and clean up, and then I'm going to stitch, and then I'm going to record my whip parade, and I will post that tomorrow. And yeah, so I hope you'll come back tomorrow. This will be the start of year 4. Today is the first day of my 4th year on Flosstube. So I'm going to, since I've completed 3 years, I've got some giveaways for you that, yeah, I would like to give to you to thank you for being here, supporting me, following me, encouraging me. And I will see you soon. Bye.